This is now where we start transitioning from calling, vision, mission, to culture. This is how we're going to act. This is the environment that we're going to create. This is how we're going to greet people when they walk through the doors. This is how we're going to answer the phone. This affects everything. This now is the basis on how you act. Now, there's a couple ways to start identifying these pieces. What you want to do is you want to start by looking at the inherent or natural traits of the leadership or founding team, because typically that's going to be your North Star. What are we going to embody as a staff? How are we going to handle mistakes? How are we going to handle victories? And often you can look at the inherent or natural traits of the leadership or founding team. Culture is created not just by what you say we're going to go out and do. It's a great place to start. That needs to be established, but it's also going to be what you allow. And this is the tricky one, because a lot of you are not starting from scratch. You already have staff in place. You already have coaches in place. And now you have this idea of creating this culture, of creating this environment that feeds your community and creates super fans. And you've got staff that doesn't fit into this culture you're trying to create. And so you have to then make a decision. What am I going to value? And these are not easy decisions. But as the leader, these are the decisions that you have chosen. You chose the game of ownership. And if there's staff on your team that isn't willing to embrace, you may need to let them go. Now, it starts by having a conversation with them, right? Sitting them down and taking ownership. Maybe you changed some things on them and this isn't what they signed up for. So you take ownership of that change by saying, how can I help you be a part of this community? I value you, but you're not doing it and you're fighting me and we need to know why. Have that conversation. Is it tough? Yes. Is it uncomfortable? More than likely. But if you don't, you will never be able to adjust the culture. This isn't about them changing. It's about them desiring to be a part of what you're creating. But here's the thing. Values aren't set in stone, right? You may evolve as an entrepreneur, as a coach, right? If your mission changes, your values might change to accomplish that. Now, there's some that are going to be non-negotiable, but there's some that are going to be mission dependent. Identify traits of high performers. Who in your organization is performing at a high level? Who in your organization, if they're running the front desk, everything just seems to be smooth. The people seem to be happier. The staff seems to get along well with them. Maybe it's, one of your executives if you're a large organization, or one of your managers. Conversely, what are the traits of your low performers, right? Those that aren't getting them done, that aren't getting it done well, that there always is an angry parent at. If your organization's filled with drama, the chances are some of this stuff isn't clear. And then filter through these traits. You have core values. These are the values that you guys as an organization embody. Aspirational. So aspirational values, you got to be careful with, because aspirational can lack authenticity. And if you're not careful, you'll be seen as fake, right? So there's a difference between core values. This is something that I believe strongly in and is foundational to who I've become. And then there's aspirational. This is those things that we want to evolve into, but you got to be honest about what's what, especially in your communication, not just to your team, but to your community. Otherwise, there's going to be a breakdown in trust and you won't create loyalty because they see right through you. There's also accidental traits. Maybe the leader is incredibly sarcastic, and the unintended consequence of that is that the managers tend to be a little sarcastic, which means the coaches are a little sarcastic. And if you're not careful, you're going to create a culture. You're going to have values that are unspoken. So recognizing it, and then as the leader, coming back to what you allow, right? The generally accepted behavior, and then make changes so that you shift things. And then there's permission to play values. These are not core values. An example of this might be honesty. We value honesty here. Well, yeah, no kidding. Hopefully you do. What do you value? Lying? The permission to play values are basic human goodness traits. This is being kind, being honest, loving others. Those are not unique things that create culture. Those are things that create good human beings, right? Those are basic things that have to be valid for you to hire them. The question here that we're trying to answer is, how must we behave?